Hello everybody, Intuition here. Thank you as always for making time and space for us. Today we want to talk about how to deal with change. Many of us are going through a lot of changes, life changes, transitions, breakups, changes in work, changes with our kids, maybe we just lost somebody. And for many of us, it is hard to adapt and work with change. And why is that? Why do we feel as though it is hard to change? Usually, it is hard for us to change because of our over-identification with the thing that we feel is changing. It is the idea that we have lost our sense of self in the subject in which we feel is leaving us. Whether that's a breakup, whether that's somebody who has passed away, whether that's a job. We have over-identified our sense of self with that thing, and because we have over-identified our sense of self with a thing, when that thing leaves us, we feel like we are losing a part of ourselves. In a way, we are. Because you have poured all of your energy into something that is not you. You have literally animated something through giving your energy to something that is not you. So then, therefore, when that thing dies, leaves, moves away, then you feel like you are lost, and you've lost yourself. And both of those things are true. You've lost because you have lost a sense of yourself in that person, and you've lost yourself by giving all of your energy into that thing that is not inherently you to begin with. So, how do you feel better about change? Because for, again, most of us hearing this, it's already too late. We have already lost that thing. We have already over-identified with that thing that is already gone, and we are feeling very sad and upset and in grief and depressed about what it is that we feel has lost us. So if we were in that state, if it is already too late, if we've already over-identified with the thing in which has already left, then it is important to understand what our definition was, what our relationship was to the thing. What was the definition that I was giving to this thing? Was this thing, was this man or woman that I was dating, were they somebody that I was dating, or did I confuse myself with them? Did I think that I was them? And I know that sounds silly, but again, when you go out of your way to do everything for somebody else, when you are codependent and not interdependent, when you make their needs your needs, then really you do confuse yourself with that being, with that person. So if you're going through a breakup right now, and that is the change in which you're experiencing, that is challenging, and what was your definition of that person? Did you think that that person was you? And again, I know that sounds silly, but if you thought that that person was you, then how do you re-identify with yourself? How do you bring yourself back into the reality of who it is that you are? Because you were never that person. Nor should you have lost yourself in the idea that you were that person. How do you remind yourself that you are you and not that person? Because when you start reminding yourself that you are you and not that person, when you start reminding yourself of your own needs, when you start reminding yourself that you can do much better for yourself than that person ever could have done for you, then therefore you start to come back into a reality of now. And the reality of now is not based in your personality lens of the past. It is not based in the best moments, the best moment playlist of you and that person. It is based in the reality of the best moment of right now, because right now is the only moment, truly, honestly, right now is it. This is it. Yesterday, the moment before, was an illusion. When I started this video, that's in the past. That's part of the illusion. Right now is the only moment. So therefore, how do you reintegrate with yourself in this present moment and not in the past of who it is that you are thinking of? How do you remember that you could do better for yourself than anybody else could ever do for you? And therefore, standing in that power of now, standing in the power of your own principality, standing into the God force that you are, how do you remind yourself that I can do fantastic for myself and do better for myself in this moment without that person? Because now I'm not going to over-identify with anything else other than myself. Thank goodness. What a breath of fresh air. If you've just lost a job, How did you identify that job in relationship to yourself? Did you think that you were your job? If you thought that you were your job, why did you think so little of yourself and that you were just a thing, just an inanimate object, just something to make someone else money? Because usually, if you're losing a job, then you are losing working for someone else, maybe a corporation. And we promise you, you are making somebody else way more money than you are making yourself. So, how then were you identifying with this job? Why then were you giving so much of yourself away? And how do you come back more into yourself and remember, yes, I am powerful. I am invaluable. I know my value. I know my worth. It doesn't matter if this job let me go. It is silly of them not to see my worth, even if I was dicking around, so to speak, at the job. Maybe I was dicking around at the job because I knew inherently that it wasn't for me and I wasn't happy there. Maybe I was pouring too much of my energy and time into this job and I was losing myself in this job, and therefore, what a blessing. There is no disguise about it. Many people say what a blessing in disguise. There's no disguise. What a blessing that they let me go, because now I can remember all it is that I am and reinvest myself into a job that works for me, into a job that maybe I won't lose myself in, into a job that maybe I can find balance within and not lose all of me. And therefore, when I step away from the job, it feels like I am losing all senses of myself and all knowings of who it is that I know myself to be. If somebody has died recently and I'm grieving their death, which is truly hard and devastating on many levels, because you will not see them physically with your physical eyes again in the same way that you are used to and familiar to. But again, what was your identification with them? Maybe it was healthy. Maybe you didn't over-identify with them. Maybe you missed them. But again, if you miss them, then what a beautiful moment for you to figure out a new way to connect with them. Maybe the way that you were connecting with them in physicality was limited. Maybe because they were in physicality, it limited your ability to really connect with them because of the personalities that both of you had. Maybe your personalities were getting in the way of you really having a stronger connection and a stronger understanding of the truth of both of who it is that you are. And your personalities were getting in the way of your relationship. And so then therefore, maybe in you missing them, you are able to create a new bond with them. If you move past the memory of them, maybe you'll be able to connect with them in a more profound way than you ever could have in physicality. And most times, when you are missing somebody after somebody has passed, and even long after somebody has passed, if they're coming into your memory, then usually that is them reaching out, trying to say, hi, how are you? But because we usually don't work through the grief in which we are experiencing from losing that person, when we get the energy of that individual that is reaching out to us, we do not see it as them reaching out to us. We see it as, oh my goodness, for some reason I'm overcome with sadness because I'm remembering Gran. But you're remembering Gran not just for no good reason, not just coincidentally. There are no coincidences. You're remembering Gran because Gran is standing right there. But you can't even sense Gran is standing right there because you're lost in a memory of the past. Because you haven't sorted through some of that grief. And therefore that is getting in the way of you being able to connect with Gran right here, right now, in the present moment. So again, what is your identification to the individual that has recently died and has become disembodied? How do you get rid of that identification so that you can connect with them in a new way now? That may be even more profound than the way that you were connecting with them in physical density. Maybe you were simply going through a transition and you were saying goodbye to an aspect of yourself that you were very familiar with. And that within itself is also challenging. But also we then again ask you, why is it so hard to let go of an aspect of yourself that is shedding? What is the over-identification that you have with that aspect of yourself that then therefore is getting in the way of this new, improved, perhaps, being that you are becoming? Why is it so scary for all of us to let go of something that is no longer helping us? It is because of our over-identification with the past and our idea that because this future seems so uncertain, that I must hold on even tighter to this illusion of what it is that I think, this person, this job, this old aspect of myself, this person that I just broke up with or that has just broken up with me. It is easier to hold on to the past than to grab onto this present moment and to know that this present moment is going to lead me into my future, but not if I'm holding on to the memory of the past. I can never step into my future. I can never step into this moment of now if I am holding tightly to the memory of the past. Because then all I will do is bring the past into the present moment. And even if something beautiful and brand new steps in, like Gran, literally, trying to talk to me even though she's dead, like a brand new boyfriend or girlfriend that is way better for you than the old brand new boyfriend, like a beautiful new job that is waiting to greet you. All of those things are potentially waiting for you, not potentially, certainly waiting for you. But because of your uncertainty and because of your immobility, your resistance to letting go of the past, to letting go of the over-identification of the thing in which you're holding on to, you are limiting yourself in this present moment, because this present moment has everything that you've been hoping, dreaming, wanting, needing. But not if your hands are full of the past. You can't grab onto that which is yours if you're holding on tightly, white-knuckling things that are desperately trying to get out of your grasp, and that is the past. Have you ever tried to hold on to a cat that is desperately trying to get out of your grasp? For most of us, that is us holding on to the past. The cat is clawing at our face, clawing at our arms. We have terrible scars from this cat that is literally just trying with all of its life, with all of its might, to get the hell away from us. And yet we were holding on to this cat as if this cat is purring and this cat is loving us, but this cat is striking our face, is biting us, is acting nuts, meowing and hissing. And we were just sitting and holding on to the cat like it's a-okay. And that cat is the past. Let go of this cat. This cat is trying to kill you. The past is going to kill you if you keep on holding on to it. Because when you're too focused on the past, when you're too focused on your over-identification with what was happening, then you miss what is happening. You won't see a car coming if you're driving from your rear view window. You won't see the truck. You won't see yourself as you're veering into the other lane that you shouldn't be veering into, because all you see is your own eyeballs looking back at you in the back seat of your car. You won't even be able to see or hear the blaring horn or the lights, somebody's headlights flickering on and off to tell you to get the hell out of the way. All you're seeing is the past. And as you're watching the past, you won't even realize as your life is literally passing in front of you, as your life is leaving, as your light is leaving this earth, as you get into a car crash and disembody yourself. And you might as well be dead if you're holding on to the past. There's nothing really there for you. So we offer this to you, an option, because when you have an option, another option than what it is that you've been focusing on, then that means that you have a choice. If you don't have any choices, then you're forced to do everything that you have been doing, and that makes you a slave to doing the same thing that you've been doing, which doesn't give you the opportunity to make a different choice, and therefore have a different end result, to have a different opportunity, to have a different experience. So, if you'd like, you can give yourself a different opportunity. You can give yourself a different experience by looking at your definitions and your identifications of what it is that you're trying to hold on to from the past, and knowing that as you let go, you will be free, more freer than you holding on to an image, an illusion of the past. And in that freedom, you'll be able to choose what it is that is more relevant for you in this moment. But that only happens when you're able to let go of the past and see how you've been over-identifying with the past and how that's been getting in the way of your present moment and all of your presence in this present moment. So, thank you as always for making time and space for us. We wish you well as always in your travels, in your choices, and in this beautiful present moment of now.